Love lives here.
Good morning again. With all my heart, I will love you, God. That's what the song says. The talk title today is Love Thy Neighbor as Thyself. You may have heard it before, right? Have you? Have you heard that before? It has biblical roots, right? In Leviticus 19, chapter 18, verse, it says, "You shall love your neighbor as yourself." And the master teacher tells us it's the second greatest commandment in Matthew 27, chapter 39th verse. So what should we do? This is a test. So what should we do? Okay, how do we do that? How do we do that? Well, one of our core principles is loving others is a spiritual imperative that dissolves the illusion of separation. And last week, I talked about the illusion of separation because the world tries to divide us. And we know this is an illusion, right? The division. It's a trick. It's a trick to divide. And when you divide, what did you do? You conquer. And it's designed to conquer what? Our minds. To conquer our minds. But Thomas Troyer tells us, he reminds us that my mind is a center of divine operation, and it will move forward to produce new conditions. So we can always put new ideas in so we can end up with new conditions. Because what do we always say? Thoughts are things. And it shows up where? In our lives. So can you put a slide up there for me, Jason? I can't see it. It looks like raindrops. Looks like connection. Looks like a web. So this is called the Indira's net. It portrays the interconnectedness of all life. Of all life. Through the mythological net of jewels. The Indira net symbolizes the universe as a web of interdependent connections among all its members, stretching out to infinity in all directions. And each jewel both reflects and is reflected in all others. And that is illustrating the principle that whatever affects one jewel, affects them all. Thank you. Therefore, whatever affects one affects of all. In the science of mind framework, love is the highest expression of unity. It is the universal pulse that unites us all. And in the connection this week, the connect that I wrote, did anybody read it? Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Daryl. Anybody else? Thank you. I spoke about my neighborhood and how love thy neighbor was something that it was not something we thought about. It was inherent. It was every day. And when people say it takes a village, we were that representation of love thy neighbor and that village. Did anybody else have that experience in their neighborhood when they were growing up? Yes, me too. So, like I said, you may have had that experience. The experience for me in my neighborhood, and love thy neighbor came so easily is because everybody looked like me in my school, in my church, in my neighborhood. Everybody looked like me. So it was easy to love thy neighbor. So what happened? We moved to another neighborhood. And people began to look different from me until the mass exodus. We moved in, people started moving out. And then everybody in my neighborhood looked like me. And so it was, again, easy to love thy neighbor. The other people I didn't get to know because as soon as we moved in, they moved out. So in a place of like-minded, same race, normal gender expressions, I believe that there's something about trust. You trust when people look like you. When people look different from you or express themselves differently, there might not be a level of trust there. Is it just me, or would you agree? So we deem people as normal, and we begin to say they're like-minded people, they look like us, they act like us, and then we become comfortable. Even that house over there in the neighborhood, because there's always one with those strange people, they're even accepted in the neighborhood. And the neighbors, we look out for them as well. So there's a level of comfort and acceptance in that. And in order to love thy neighbor, this concept must spread further than the concept of narrow views and farther than our own backyards or our own neighborhoods. So in the military, Daryl was in the military for a short time, we lived in base housing. And I don't know if anybody ever experienced base housing, but they do a great job of mixing up the neighborhood and enlisting service people, families to live next to each other. So there's all kinds of people in the neighborhood. And these were kind of like duplexes, so your next door neighbor was definitely different from you. And it forces you to get to know people. It forces you to get to know that neighbor right next to you, because our carports were just side by side. So we drive in, we drive out, they drive out. Hello, how are you doing? You get to know your neighbors. And they make sure that the neighborhood is very diverse. But I think what I learned in that neighborhood in order to love thy neighbor, it is rooted in diversity, equity, and inclusion. And diversity, equity, and inclusion, DEI, is a framework that promotes acceptance and appreciation for our differences. Now, diversity, you know, refers to race, ethnicity, gender, sexual orientation, age, religion, social, economic backgrounds, and even more. And equity recognizes and ensures that everyone has an equal opportunity to succeed. But I want to talk about love thy neighbor as inclusion. And inclusion goes beyond simply having a diverse group of people. It means actively creating a culture where everyone feels respected, valued, and empowered to participate fully and contribute their unique perspective, because we're all individualized, unique expressions of the one. So in essence, love thy neighbor aims to foster belonging. What do we say at Riverside Center for Spiritual Living? You belong. And that creates a culture where everyone feels comfortable and included, and your voices are heard and valued. That's why we go to our tables, because we want to hear your voice, and we want you to know that your voice is valued. So in a traditional, I guess, African American community, you might identify with different types of love. Any community, you may identify with there are different types of love, is what I want to say. So there's philia, which is brotherly love. So how do we love thy neighbor? Philia love is brotherly love. And love, it equals love between equals, love connected with the mind, and love between people who have shared hard times. So you might see that in different cultures, segregated places. There's a shared, maybe hard times, maybe good times, but it's shared and you understand it. Yeah, I understand that person because we have experienced the same things or the same types of things. So that is filial love. But today's message calls for us to love people. This is about seeing people as divine expressions. This is about affirming our divine essence. Even when we don't agree, we don't look the same, or when we have different expressions. Love thy neighbor is not conditional. It's not conditional. It doesn't say, if you agree with me, then I love you. It doesn't say, I'll love you if. It doesn't say that. It is unconditional love, or agape love, the self-givingness despite differences. Or unconditional love is born of spiritual maturity, and it reflects the divine. It says, I love you because we have a shared humanity. I love you because you are an individualized expression of the divine. That's what it says. So love thy neighbor is without judgment. They're wrong, different, or less than. But it is with compassion. They are divine as I am. I see the God in you. You see the God in me. So who is my neighbor? So we have to expand the idea of neighbor. A neighbor is not just in proximity, but also it is everyone. It is everyone, even if we don't agree with them. Every person is an unfolding expression of spirit. Every encounter with someone is sacred. It pushes us to grow. It lays a foundation for our growth and soil. But, anybody ever heard the word but? When we use the word but, it's a clause of contrast. But they didn't agree with me. But she didn't say what I thought she would say. But, yeah, buts. I was talking to a friend the other day, and she said her mom wrote a little book about yeah, but. It was called the Yeah, Buts. So it's also used as an impossibility. Yeah, but I can't do that because of something, whatever that something is. So love thy neighbor, but how if there's a but? How do we love our neighbor if there is a but? We can't. We can't. It's impossible. But what we can do is, again, recognize the divine presence. And Dr. Holmes writes, if we make ourselves receptive to the idea of love, we become lovable. You ever heard people say, if you want something to look different, you demonstrate it. If I want more love in my life, I need to be the demonstration of that love. I need to be the demonstration, and then it will show up. People say, you want to know what you've been thinking, look at your life. If you've been thinking loving thoughts, inclusive thoughts, spiritual thoughts, healthy thoughts, prosperous thoughts, it will show up in your life. So, we have to practice compassion over judgment. Agape love does not envy. It does not boast. It keeps no records of wrongdoing. Expand your neighbors. The master teacher commands, love your enemies. That's in Matthew 5th chapter, 44th verse. Look it up. But religious science sees all as spirit within form, operating through our own consciousness. This is ageless wisdom. Agape love is patient, is kind, is forgiving, is protective. It always trusts, always hopes, and always preserves. So I'm going to stop there. We're going to go to our tables. There are some questions on the tables for you. So you can go to your tables now. So the only thing that you have very little homework this week, and it's just a mindfulness practice. And it'll come out today at 3 o'clock, 3:05. And so today, choose compassion. This week, choose compassion. And when judgment arises, pause and meet it with kindness and give yourself some grace. And that is it. And so it is. What a wonderful day it is. This is a day that God has made. I don't know about you, but I'm rejoicing in it. I woke up this morning. I knew my name. I recognized my surroundings. And I rejoiced in the fact that there's only one power, one healing and loving presence in this entire universe. I rejoice to know that we are all connected and that each and every one of us is part of this one. And so today was a reminder to love thy neighbor as thyself. The things that you wouldn't do to yourself, don't do it to others. And our mandate here is to spread love, be love in this world. And when we are that, we receive it in return. And so today, may the love that is our essence flow through us, not when it's easy, but most where it is hard. May every but dissolve into recognition that we are bound by spirit. And may we walk in light, live in peace, love in truth, and see all as one in this divine presence. So it is, and so it is. And so our affirmation is on the screen. And let's say it together. I'm going to say it first, and then we'll say it together. The affirmation today is I recognize my neighbor not by proximity, but by shared spirit. Let's say that together. I recognize my neighbor not by proximity, but by shared spirit. All right. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. Let's say it loud. Something wonderful is happening through me right now. It is this thing called love. Love is in my mind. Love is in my body. Love is in everything I do. I am it. I share it. I receive it. And I move love forward because love lives here. Happy Sunday, everyone.